So let's
Let's
talk
talk
Rio.
Rio.
Are you
Yes,
ready to talk Rio? Um,
absolutely.
all right. So set the scene for this second album, which I mean, for a lot of people, this was their entry, and this is
Yeah,
where they discovered Duran Duran, because the first album might have did okay, but it didn't, launch them into the stratosphere. And so I guess what was what was the band thinking at this time for this second album, which is always important. You always hear
yeah.
about the sophomore slump, but this was something like this one. You know, what was the so where were they at the time?
So it's so interesting, and I did so much research for the book. And what's so interesting is that when you look at Duran Duran's early history, they did their first show in summer of 1980, and they released their first album in June of 1981. Rio came out in May of 1982. So
Mm-hmm.
within 2 years, they not only formed and released two albums, but they basically had this whirlwind 2 years. And so why that's important is that they basically hit the road. They formed and they started doing some shows. They signed a record deal at the end of 1980, and they already had a bunch of songs, and so they already had kind of some stuff written, but they were just really on the go. They were just working incredibly hard. And so by the end of 1981, they had a couple of songs written, but they never stopped. They never stopped creating and writing. And so, they recorded Rio in early 1982, and that was kind of coming at the end of an incredibly busy year. I mean, they globetrotted, they went everywhere. And so the record came out of that, all the experiences they were having, in terms of, Rio is, about, if you listen to it, it's about travel, and it's about, a beautiful woman that Simon Le Bon saw in a cafe, and he kind of built a song around that. But it's also about, the excitement of being so many new places. If you listen to it, it's about all the clubs there's some references to clubs they went to, there's traveling. And so it basically came out of this just really exciting year. And when you're a young band, and you're getting to know each other, and you're really, kind of all going in the same direction, there's just a lot of creativity. And so I think there was that going on as well. The first album, they were kind of getting to know each other and trying to figure out their kind of musical path. And then with Rio, they all were just like firing on all cylinders. And I mean, that's kind of a cliche, but it's true. When you listen to the record, everybody was just, everybody's parts were just really were interesting, and were just really, they were all doing very interesting things, and they were all energized by everything. And so, and the songwriting, they just hit on, a 9-song perfect pop album. Any of the songs on the record could be a single. So yeah, I mean, so they recorded the record in early 1982 at Air Studios in London. And so, Paul, as they always say, that Paul McCartney was recording there too, would pop around and say hello, which is, totally normal,
So
but I
Paul.
mean, yeah, they were, but as Beatles fans, they were just like, oh my God, so it was pretty great. But yeah, that's kind of the start of it. And so they, that's basically it, is that their creativity, they evolved really fast because they were working really hard and on the road and just playing music and really enjoying being in a band and all those things. When you have all three of those things together, yeah, it's great. So that's kind of the story of them starting there.